So, time for part 2. Where we last left off, Judas and Mary Beth were about to use a Ouija board to contact Anna. They reach her, however, Anna can only speak in questions, so it's super difficult to pull any information out of her. Mary Beth enters this trance sort of state, and she speaks out loud what Anna is writing without having to look at the board. And Anna asks who will be the door, and Mary Beth volunteers herself to be the door. Anna asks if they have a mirror, and when Mary Beth looks at it, she sees her reflection, but her throat is slit and her eyes are blacked out. Anna also uses this opportunity to cryptically reveal to Jude what actually happened to her. After the Ouija board and a nap, Jude stays in the kitchen to give Mary Beth some time with Bammy. He decides to check his voicemail, and he has 5 messages, and among them, it's Jude's lawyer, accountant, somebody, sending condolences about Danny, and he begs him to call because nobody has any clue where he went. Another was a message from his old bandmate who had died years before in a car crash. He says that he's happy they'll be getting the old band back together, and where they'll both be, people are always singing. And he pauses so Jude can hear the screams of the tortured souls in the background. The last message is from his aunt, his father's keeper person, explaining that his dad has been unresponsive for over 30 hours now, and the plan is to just let him pass peacefully at home. And Jude is welcome to come and visit if he wants. After checking his voicemails, Jude looks out the window and sees a little girl picking dandelions in the yard. He recognizes the girl as Ruth, the ghost of Bammy's twin sister. She looks as though she's waving hello to someone in the alley behind the house, and she starts walking over to them. Jude wants to stop her from going with them, and he wants to save her. He calls out her name, and Ruth looks as though she's heard him. He tells her to get to the house. Ruth begins to run toward the house, but is snatched up and taken away all the same. What happened in the past cannot be changed. Back on the road, they drive by a used car lot that makes Mary Beth really uncomfortable, and Jude remembers a story she told him about one of her friend's dads that she had been sleeping with when she was about 13. The man had worked in a used car lot. He pulls in and decides he's going to punch the man in the face. After some back and forth with Mary Beth, he demands that she tell him the man's name, and Angus helps Jude find him quickly. Jude proceeds to break the man's nose and crush his testicles. Although Mary Beth had originally begged him not to do it, she laughed and kissed him once they made it back to the car. On the final stretch to Jessica's, Mary Beth asks what Jude is planning to do to Jessica, and she makes him promise not to kill her. She also mentions that if she dies, she's going to try and stop Craddock as a ghost. She says she doesn't know what being the door entails, but she's pretty sure she has to die to do it. They finally make it to Jessica's house a little after midnight and decide to wait there until she leaves her house the next day. That morning, they watch as Jessica sends her daughter Reese off to school. Moments later, she tries to leave through her garage with her keys and a bright pink purse, but Jude forces her back into the house, brandishing a tire iron. Tire iron. Why is that so difficult to say? Tire iron. I hate it. Jude reveals that he knows everything. Craddock used to sexually abuse the girls when they were young. Anna was going to open up about that secret, but Craddock couldn't have that, so he killed Anna and framed it as a suicide. Jessica had been in on it from the beginning. Jessica explained that they were lucky to have their stepfather and they should do whatever he asked of them. She said it was something Reese understood, but Anna did not. So yes, that means Jessica was allowing Craddock to assault her own daughter. Jude demanded she tell him how to get rid of the ghost, but Jessica refused to talk. As he's choking her out with the tire iron, Mary Beth brings attention to what Jessica was actually holding in her hand, and it wasn't a little bright pink purse. It was actually Reese's lunchbox. That's when Reese emerged in the doorway pointing a gun at Jude and telling him to get away from her mother. Jessica urges Reese to shoot him because he's going to kill them. She fires the gun and misses. This is enough to cause Bo to jump at her. Reese fires again and hits the dog. Jude watches as Bo's soul leaves her body and disappears. Reese fires a third time and hits Jude's index finger, shooting it clean off. So he's in shock, and Mary Beth is trying to get him and Angus back into the car. This is when Craddock's ghost truck rams into Angus almost strikes Mary Beth. When Jude looks back again, he sees it is Jessica's car. They escape with Angus in the back seat, in really bad shape, but still alive for now. Mary Beth tries to take Jude to the hospital, but he insists she does not. They're much safer as long as they're with the dog. Jude then witnesses one of Craddock's memories of Anna, threatening to get Jude's lawyer involved to make sure that they take Reese away. She has Polaroids of Craddock and Reese as proof of the abuse. Craddock points out that Jude doesn't even answer her letters, and he won't answer the door if she tries to go back to him. Anna shoves Craddock to the ground and spits in his face. She then goes to her room to pack a bag. She drinks some alcohol, and Jessica reveals that she's been hypnotizing Anna and drugging her liquor. In order to stop Anna from going to the police, Craddock decides to hypnotize Anna into killing herself. Jude realizes he's in the car with Mary Beth driving. He tells her to drive to his dad's farmhouse rather than go to the hospital because his aunt is a registered nurse and there's 2 big German shepherds there. When they get there, Craddock's ghost truck is waiting in the driveway. Mary Beth tells Jude that Angus is dead. They get inside and Jude's aunt tries to call an ambulance, but there's just weird radio signals coming through the phone. She decides that she will get them settled to rest and then go to a neighbor's house and ask to call an ambulance. Jude asks where the German shepherds are. His aunt says that she gave them to a neighbor to take care of. There's a dog in the house, but it's his aunt's fat, sleepy Rottweiler. Aunt sets up Jude in a room with a cot right next to his dad, and Mary Beth in her own room down the hall. She wraps Jude's hand and goes to check on Mary Beth. At this point, Jude falls asleep, and when he wakes up, his aunt is visibly frightened and tells Jude that the power is out and there's a strange truck in the driveway. She decides that she needs to leave and take her dog. Jude sleeps some more, and when he wakes up, Craddock climbs out of his mother's sewing kit on the floor. It's again a heart-shaped box, like the ones. It's a chocolate box that his dad used to get for his mother every occasion, just a cheapo little heart-shaped chocolate box, and she had been using it to keep her sewing stuff out of. And so Craddock reveals himself by crawling out of the sewing kit on the floor. He tries to hypnotize Jude, but Jude tunes him out by recalling a song he'd written while in the motel room. Craddock gets frustrated and climbs into Jude's dad's body through his mouth, and that was a really disturbing scene. I liked that. Just him just crawling, fitting his entire body into Jude's dad's mouth was very cool imagery. So his dad gets up and grabs a razor, and he attacks Jude with it and chases him out to the kitchen. As his dad gets on top of him, a knife goes clean into his dad's neck. Jude looks and sees that Mary Beth is by the kitchen knives, and she throws 2 more that land in his dad's shoulder and back. This doesn't kill him, but it does turn his attention to Mary Beth, and he slices her throat, just like in the mirror that they saw, the vision. As Mary Beth is bleeding out and Craddock is exiting his dad's body, Mary Beth urges Jude to make the door. He doesn't know what else to do, so he draws the door on the kitchen floor with Mary Beth's blood. The door opens and there's a blinding light everywhere, and Mary Beth / Anna, it kind of is both of them, they stand up and approach Craddock. She grabs hold of him, and the two ghost dogs pull at his legs, and they fall through the doorway, and Jude accidentally falls in after them. He falls for a second before he realizes he's now in the car with Anna/Mary Beth. And he immediately knows that they're riding on the night road. The night road that Craddock kept telling him that they were going to ride together. After driving for a while, Mary Beth tells him that this is where he needs to get out. Jude tries to hold on to Mary Beth's hand and take her with him, but Mary Beth thinks that she should stay because she's too tired to make the journey back. Jude woke up to paramedics treating him and carrying Mary Beth's body off on a stretcher. He passed out again, and when he came to, he was in the hospital. He tried to tell the doctor that he should be the one to tell Bammy that her granddaughter died. The doctor told him that it should be one of the doctors so that they can focus on the positives. And Jude is just like, what could possibly be positive about this? And the doctor was like, well, she's in a stable condition now, and people have been dead for much longer than the amount of time that she was dead. Jude is stunned by this news. He jumps out of the hospital bed and starts shouting her name in the hallway. He suddenly sees the ghost of Beau, and she leads him to a room in the ICU. Mary Beth is there with stitches across her neck. When Jude asks her what happened, she tells him that she was sick of driving in cars. Jude's next visitor is a police officer coming to ask questions about what happened. The official story ended up being that Jude was involved in a hit and run while out walking his dog, and then when he got to his father's house, his dad woke up and attacked him. Mary Beth saved their lives in an act of self-defense. Jude was so sure that Jessica would report him in Florida, but if they haven't come for him by now, then she must not have said anything. A few months go by, and Jude talks to his aunt on the phone. She says that she dug up some information on Jessica, and it turns out she was also involved in a hit and run on the very same day. And a neighbor called the police, and when they got there, they found Reese inside with the gun. They went to put the gun back in its case, and then they found the Polaroids of Reese and Craddock. Jessica was charged with child endangerment, etc., and she exercised her right to remain silent. The 5 years go by, and Jude and Mary Beth get married, and they travel all over the world. One day, Jude is walking his two new puppies outside when he sees a young woman, no older than 18, staring at him from across the street. And he knows immediately that it's Reese. Jude invites her inside, and she apologizes for what she did to his hand. She mentions that Anna visited her in her dreams and explained that Jude was there to help her and not hurt them. She tells him that her mom is in jail and she hates her and wouldn't care if she were dead. Jude buys her a train ticket to Buffalo, New York to meet her friends. He also gives her $200, and that's that. That's the end. So, happy ending. Yeah, I liked this story. I kind of rolled my eyes at the end with Mary Beth coming back to life, but after a while I thought it was actually kind of sweet, so I wasn't that mad about it. I'm usually in for the more bleak, dark endings, but this was sweet. So yeah, I liked it overall. I thought it was fun. I didn't know where it was going to go next, which is great. I hate when stories are super predictable. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys thought of the book if you've read it, or if you just liked hearing me explain what happened in it. I would love to know. I'm sorry I kind of sped through this one, but I am sick right now, and my throat is barely holding in there. I'm about to lose my voice. I can feel it, and I just wanted to get this out before that happened. I was planning on getting it out a little while ago, but depression got a hold of me, and I was in a pretty dark spot for a couple of days, and I didn't really want to get out of bed at all. So this is me here, sick and forcing myself to get up and do something. And I'm proud of myself for that. I should do it more often. But, what are you going to do? Some days, all you can really do is get up and take a shower. And that's how it is. It's weird sitting here and trying to explain depression to people. I'm sure that a lot of you get it, a lot of you understand, and yeah, thanks for just being supportive. I appreciate you guys. That's it. That's the end. Thanks for listening, if you did. I really appreciate it. Yeah, and that's about it. Thank you guys. I'm going to stop now before I get emotional. It's like, yeah, how do you explain to people that you don't know why you're crying, you don't know why you're upset? Yeah, no, I hate talking about my depression. It puts me in a really weird position. I feel like I'm just feeling sorry for myself when I talk about it. It's weird. But I got up today and I did this, and I am going to be proud of myself for that, even if I don't accomplish anything else today. So, there we go. Again, thanks. I appreciate all the support, and I'm going to go before I get super mushy and emotional. Bye.